Welcome back, everyone, to this next match of the 12th Alliance Tournament. This is CCB Fozzie, joined once again by Bacchanalian, and we've got the Tuskers versus Feigned Disorder. And the guys in the analysis desk were just talking about Gila's versus a EOS Vexor Navy Corps, and that's exactly what we have right here. Tuskers decided that XI's team looked really cool, made some slight variations to it, and are running something very similar. So it's Claymore, Scimitar, Orthrus, Triple Gila, or Triple Heretic, double Maulus and Crow, and that is rapid lights on everything that can fit rapid lights on that team, so it will shred frigates.
Yeah, and the Feigned Disorder team on the other side has brought EOS, Oneros, Triple Vexor Navy issue, Blackbird, 3 Vexors, 2 Worms, and a Talwar. So their DPS core is actually pretty flimsy by comparison to the Tuskers. I think the Tuskers come in with the advantage.
Yeah, I really do like the Tusker setup a lot more. The Blackbird especially is, I'm not sure, the best use of the ship in this case, but we'll see how it goes. Both teams did come in at max range from fairly far apart beacons, so there's a bit of time before the drones start getting on top of each other, but we're seeing them starting to move now.
So instantly damps on the Orthrus on the Tusker side. Only ship that's damped on the Tusker side. The first 2 damps that went down on the Feigned Disorder side were on the Blackbird, and one of the Vexors now damps on the other 2 Vexors, and they actually moved a damp off to the Heretic now. So yeah, Blackbird looks like it's the first one to take some damage. They got reps on it, but then the Worm was just volleyed.
Woo, very quickly. Worm. That's what those rapid lights will do to it. And very quick E-War win by Tuskers, although it's starting to drop off a bit now. The Mauluses, with their fast locking, did a really great job with that. And they're basically going to neutralize the Blackbird as another Worm off the field. Again, great use of these rapid lights to take out the frigates.
You know, with damps, that's really an important thing, is you got to win the damp war right off the bat, and that's why you see so many frigates fitting the damps. We have the Heretic of the Evil One taking shield damage, getting repped back up, but shield tanks, so if he loses those shields, he is going to go down. Blackbird, meanwhile, in armor, but comfortably being repped, so Robinson Jack's hanging on, and yep. Tower off the field. So Tuskers right out in front very quickly here, and those rapid lights, like you say, are really shredding the support.
Yeah, a very commanding start. The Blackbird is trying to jam the Heretic. I don't know if he's like all Amar jammers or something, but anyways, he's dead now, so that's his pain is over with.
Great question. Maybe it was the only thing he could lock with the damps.
Yeah, it's very possible. But this is a great start for Tuskers. They've managed to bring in a setup that hits well at long range and really taking advantage of that.
They had to be careful, and the Heretic does go down, so the Heretic vanishes. I was just going to say they need to be careful with that, not to lose the Heretic. But at this point, I think the Heretics have done their job. I mean, there's at this point, there's the kind of DPS really is to pick off drones. So Vexor Navy issue, low armor now, webbed, and not getting any reps from anything. I guess the Oneros is damped down. Perhaps he's out of range. And the Oneros is actually kicked up to 2600 speed, running to try to get in range to save something. But I think it's going to be way too late. Tuskers are way out in front here.
Yeah, knocking down the Vexor Navy issue removes a lot of DPS from the field. Like you said at the beginning of the match, the Feigned Disorder DPS core is very vulnerable. Now a Vexor taking a ton of damage, it's dropping fast, and it's also not getting reps yet. They're doing a great job with the Tuskers of knocking down these ships. Still damage being applied to the Heretics. The Heretics, yeah, are definitely there mainly to kill frigates. They can kill the drones off the Vexor Navy, which is effective, but just killing the Vexor Navy issues themselves is much more effective, and Tuskers has proven they can do that.
A web on Vandiri, who I used to fly with quite a long time ago. He was in Rocapella. He got free of the web, though somehow the web actually dropped off of him because he's not moving really. We have the Vexor of Alexandre, there we go. He's into low armor, and as well as Vandiri. So both a Vexor Navy and a Vexor taking some damage.
Yeah, Tusker splitting damage, but it's fine at this point.
Not?
I mean, it's probably they're trying to get drones applied to close targets. They've proven that they can easily knock these targets down.
Cool for ND got himself webbed, as well as the Scimitar of Latronicus, but I think it's too late. I mean, both these ships are webbed. That he looks like he is going to die, but doesn't really matter at this point. I mean, the Tuskers have a 36 point lead, 37 point lead, well, now even more, 43 point lead, and they're just absolutely tearing through this Feigned Disorder team.
Yeah, it was the EOS that got on top of Cool Foreign's Gila there, and he's the one that's got it tackled and neuted. So he's going to get it killed, I think, but it's just not enough. Knocking the DPS off the field is fine, but they really need to kill that Scimitar if they want to be able to actually take this match back, and it's a very tall order.
No, Newt's on that Scimitar, and the Scimitar is strangely not repping that Gila that goes down, so Cool 4ND goes down. Scimitar is webbed and taking quite a bit of damage, and the Evil One also taking a little bit of damage there, who immediately catches reps, so really strange that other one did not get reps. But Vexor Navy of Godheb is going to go down next, and I think the EOS looks like he'll be the next primary after him.
Yeah, and that Vexor Navy was the only thing tackling the Scimitar, so and neuting it, so with him off the field, hopefully he can rep all of his friends instead of just some of them. And now they're going to decide to take down the Oneros, it looks like, just for fun. fun. Let's actually finish off the ship that was repping the whole time. And it's really just a cleanup at this point for Tuskers. A really, really strong performance from them. And showing, again, like what they were talking about at the desk, these Gila core teams, I think, are going to be very popular as we go forward. They just do a lot of things very well.
Yep.
And we're probably going to see more people banning them.
I think so. I think it's going to become even more popular ban as we go forward. Looks like that Oneros is absolutely going to melt off the field. I got asked on Twitter what would be the Spanish equivalent of Larry, so we're going to call it the Lorenzo. So these are Lorenzos now. The Oneros is gone. The EOS is webbed down, presumably going to be the next target. I can't see, is the Vexor's just kind of farther away? Is that what's going on here? Looks like, yeah, the EOS and the Vexors are separated, so that would make sense there. Target painter on the EOS, because I guess the signature radius is not high enough. But really,
it always helps a little bit when you're trying to track. It'll definitely actually help a little bit with the Claymore if he gets his speed up a bit.
That's fair.
But at this point, again, it's just taking down the target as quickly as you can, get this match out of the way, and move on to their next one. They're going to be up against XII next, and that's going to be a tough match.
You know, for all the talk, we're talking about the losers bracket being a really nasty run. The winners bracket doesn't have many slouches left either. It's really this is all around a tough tournament. A lot of really, really good teams developed over the years, and all of them turned out for this tournament. So we have some great matches coming up even today. The next couple, I'm really excited about the rest of this day. So the EOS now low armor, probably going to be a bleeding structure momentarily. He's going to be off the field. And again, this is just a matter of cleanup. It's taking a little longer than I would expect with as much damage as Tuskers actually have on the field, but they're doing their job.
So we've been seeing a lot of teams using the Gilas and the Orphuses all with rapid lights recently. What do you think about the choice between ham Gilas and rapid light Gilas? Because we talk a lot about their drones, but they actually do a lot of damage with missiles as well. What do you think the trade-off is between those?
Well, I mean, winning the support war is an important thing to do. You can run into frigates that really cause problems. You can get tackled by the frigates. We've seen that. These Gilas like to run around. You know, they like to just kite and drop their drones. And if you get run down by a frigate and tackled, then you really want the option to be able to blow it off of you. You know, again, E-War frigates have been a huge thing. We've seen Molluses in almost every match, it feels like. You see lots of worms that do a fair bit of damage, actually. So I think that's what that is. It's just, it's fear of support ships. And you know, you were talking earlier about, you know, primarying frigates right off the bat may not be the best choice. And the Vexor is down, by the way, and this one's going to go shortly after it. But at the same time, when you don't win that support war, if you don't clear those frigates at some point, it tends to go badly for you.
Yes. Yeah, especially when they're frigates like worms or assault frigs that deal a lot of damage. It can just cause you a lot of problems as you go. And also just webbing you down when you're trying to run away from medium drones.
Right, or I mean, you know, getting behind the screen, catching your Logi. I've seen that a lot too. Once a Logi gets webbed, it's really, really bad news. So if you can clear those frigates off before that ever happens, you can protect your team. And that Vexor, low armor now, still slowly dying. Those rapid lights aren't really crushing it or anything, but it will die. And of course, damped. He's probably having a bad day.
The Tuskers guys are in no real rush to try to take him down faster. They do have now Gila on top of him, and but they're not sending the drones on him quite yet. It looks like they're probably going to try to do some looting first. Every little bit of this counts, especially if there's any really valuable drones. I'm seeing some geckos in there. That's going to be worth picking up, and some augmented hobgoblins as well. Yeah, you definitely want to be grabbing those if you can.
Well, we can talk a little bit about what we got matches we got coming up. We have Ronin versus TNT next. TNT, I believe, lost to Nyx yesterday.
Okay.
So they're kind of smart, and they want a morale victory to come back with and do that. So
not going to be easy versus Ronin, though. No. Ronin were very strong last AT, and of course, this is a team that has been a tournament powerhouse all the way since AT4.
Yep. No, I can remember them going back that far as well. After that, it'll be Camelot Empire versus MIF. Since they don't want to be called, you know, I don't know, MIF, MIF. And then my alliance, Rogue Capel versus Ministry of Inappropriate Footwork, which I'm kind of nervous about. And then we get to see if Pandemic Legion can overcome their troubles earlier in the tournament against Gorgon Empire. Yeah,
and we've talked about this, I think, a little bit last weekend, but I'm not sure if we have yet this weekend. This last match between PL and Gorgon Empire, not only is it kind of exciting because we have the defending champion, but also Gorgon Empire, for anyone that's not familiar with them, they've picked up a lot of the core members from the old Darkside tournament teams.
Ah, I didn't realize that.
And Darkside, of course, is the team that ended PL's kind of first run of victories by knocking them out of AT9. So this is, I mean, obviously this is the first time that they've met each other since then. So obviously it's going to be a match with a lot of historical consequences. It'll be great to see exactly whether PL can even the score there, or whether Gorgon can knock down the defending champions twice, or the members of Darkside on that team can knock down the defending champions twice.
Right. Well, I mean, a real question is PL going to end its own run? I mean, they seem to be their biggest own enemy right now. The teams that they've come up against have some brought reasonable setups and flown pretty well against them, but ultimately it's been PL's own mistakes that have really put them against the ropes. So hopefully they can recover from that. I'm sure there's lots of angry rage going on in comms during those, and maybe they've learned their lesson. Looks like that Vexer has given up. He is now sitting still, finally taking some shield damage. So I think they're finally going to finish him off. Probably looted all the fancy drones that they want off the field. His armor's gone. He's into structure.
They're going to finish him off right with only less than a minute left.
Just keeping us on schedule. And there he goes.
So that is the Tuskers through. Feigned Disorder is still around. Remember, this is the undefeated bracket right now, so Feign will not get knocked down to the elimination bracket, and they will continue, but they're going to be up against the wall next match.
Yep. And very, very long road in front of them in the losers bracket. So I think with that, we'll send it back over to the guys.
All right, Space Chutney's primary.
My client just froze.
Support, take care of that, please.
I can't.
Everybody else stay on the Vexer. Space.
Lodge is down.
Yep, Space Chutney's primary, followed by Captain Ghost.
Primary target.
Okay, Space Chutney's now primary.
Race is about to go down.
Rogon, you dead?
Space Chutney's primary, guys. Make sure
Advantage
it's on
discode.
Space Chutney.
Loot the field, guys. Loot the field.
Welcome back to the set, hosted by me, CCP Gargant, joined by Apothnia, Elise Randolph, and CCP Rise. Well, that's quite the little verse to say. That match was great.
Yes.
I don't have any other words for it. That's what you guys are for. Yes.
Were you impressed by Feigned Disorder, what they brought? They brought the Navy Vexer sort of thing, while Tuskers brought the Gilas.
Yeah, so they showed that the Vexer Navy issue is not as strong as the Gyla.
Yeah.
That's one thing that they seem to have shown. So.
I really like the Tuskers team in that they had a lot of light missiles. Like they had a lot of things that could both kill, frigates and desis, and also drones. Yeah. Like one of the things about light missiles is people are saying, bring lots of smart bombs to defeat these heavy drone setups. Light missiles are really good at killing them too. Possibly not all at the same time, but say they drop a bunch of heavy rep bots, you can throw them on that without having to get into the middle of the enemy team. You've got Morluses are super powerful. The heretics themselves have been super powerful. Having that heretic Orthrus and light missile core can be very, very strong.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting what the Tuskers did. They brought anti-tackle, but not in the anti-tackle that you generally see. Like lots of people have worms or frigates of some sort or hawks. They brought anti-tackle in the form of just light drones just murdering all the other light tackle. That's about what I was trying to say. Light tackle killing things instead of taking small ships to do it. They just put it on their Gilas, and of course they brought the Orthrus, which is becoming really popular among like these quality teams. I'm really happy to see this because the Orthrus is one of my favorite ships.
It's really interesting how it seems to be really popular to just have one. Or at least, XII obviously likes that a lot, and now we see it again. I suppose that's probably most of it. But having kind of one anti-support mid-sized ship rather than having a wing of them as like your primary DPS. That's actually something we haven't seen a whole lot of generally over the last couple years in the tournament. Usually, anti-support is handled by other small ships. It's handled by your own frigates. And then there's some mid-sized ships that are good at dealing with support, like Slipners or something. Actually, they can be fine at it, but it's cool to see just that one cruiser there that's really good at that job.
Yeah, it is really good. And they also had like the heretics alongside with it. Yeah. To kill the light things, and it seemed as though, I'm not 100% sure, I couldn't see on that thing, but it seemed as though the Gilas had light missiles as well to take care of tackle.
Yeah. But yeah, like if in this setup, why have another rapid light Orthrus rather than having some other drone ship?
Exactly. So they did the heretics and stuff, so they could max out their Gilas and max out their like DPS points to totally take Feigned Disorder by surprise. Feigned Disorder. They took the Navy Vexer, which we saw a lot in Week 1 and Week 2. But this is, I think, one of the few times we've seen it this week. This is the first time we saw it in the winner's bracket this week. Do you think that ship is kind of dead or lost its usefulness? this or what?
I think it looks better than it is. like you know, it's a navy hull. It gets a bit of extra EHP. You know, it's got a full 125 bandwidth. So,
And the drones go really fast.
Yeah,
That's the
and
one
drones
thing
are really
about
fast. You know, full flight of heavies, full of sentries. If you want to do kind of the old Ishtar days, like in theory, it's really good. But what we're seeing is that it's kind of an easy primary. It gets a little bit more EHP than a regular Vexor, but not much. It's kind of got its slots mixed between the mids and the lows, so you can't do an insane armor tank, you can't do an insane shield tank. It doesn't have a resist bonus, so they die quite well.
Yeah, which definitely is bad news. It seems like the cores that are consistently winning are very resilient. More like Gila's resist bonuses and at least as many slots as the Vexor and Vexor Navy issue versions have.
So the cool thing about the Tuskers team that we saw real quick is they banned the Sleipnir, and the 2 Sleipnir or 3 Gila core is actually really popular. But instead they took what did they take? They took an Orthrus and a Claymore for the link. So the Claymore had the missiles and also the Orthrus. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting take on it. Just these small tweaks to these common teams. Do you think, like, from here on out, and tomorrow even, do you think we'll see more of this, like, Gila 2 command ship or command ship and Kitey cruiser core? Like, is that going to be, like, the new hotness?
I mean, it looks very appealing, at least.
I think it will be for now, but I also think if it gets too popular, like if it's so hot that it's like every match is Gila's, I think good teams will just start banning them because...
and this is an archetype that existed last year too, so like the teams have practiced against it. At least
of all the archetypes we have, it's the one with the biggest targets on its back. It's the one that's doing the best. It's the one where realistically we're seeing the most at the moment. So I think all the theory crafters, everyone is going, right, we have this setup that's really good, but we need to anticipate beating it, and we need to be able to beat it.
Right. The two things that kind of happen going forward are either people start beating it because it's too popular, or they start banning it to just force people to do something else so that they're not as comfortable.
Which sort of feeds into the next bans for the next match, which will be the Ronin versus Tactical Narcotics team. The Ronin banned the Ishtar and the Dominix, and TNT banned the Cerberus and the Orthrus.
Oh, that's interesting.
I would not have guessed those bans.
No, Cerberus is first today at least.
The Dominix is actually pretty weird as well. It seems like dummies are not, it's like, they've been available for plenty of teams and nobody's bringing them. They're a little too expensive, I think, to be worth it at this point, so that's a little strange as well.
Maybe they found a way.
I mean, it seems like they obviously really don't want sentries, if possible, because both those ships have tracking bonus to sentries. But
maybe that implies kind of slow-moving cruisers almost. Like that's the only thing that kind of sentries really scare these days. You know, that high volley damage that you need kind of help tracking against. So I don't know.
I mean, with those bans, I'd almost anticipate Ronin bringing like a battleship-heavy team that's got smart bombs. It doesn't deal with the sentries very well, but it deals with the very mobile drones. And again, the Gila slips through, so...
So.
I do like smart bombs, though.
Yeah, they are pretty.
Who doesn't want to fight Orthruses and Cerberuses, though?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
That's a very specific
Maybe they
target.
really want to win the support war. Maybe they really want, maybe they have some assault frigates, or I don't know, there's something they really want to protect that's small.
But I think then you'd ban out like heretics instead of the Serb. Like the Serb costs so much points for what it does.
Yeah, that's a pretty strange one. Maybe they have Frig Logi.
Yeah. That could be it. That would, I guess, could make sense.
Maybe they're just doing this so that we can talk about it.
Maybe they're like super polite. Yeah.
One of the things we
have
see
nothing else to talk
is a comp with a lot of AFs like we saw, last year.
Yeah.
And the big ships died, and we thought they were in trouble. But their strong frigate wing really came through for them, and really turned around the match and gave them a lot more hope. So maybe it's like something like that they're worried of happening.
Could be.
We won't know yet. The match isn't ready, but
I mean, here I was trying to
feed into it.
That's my job. Let's be done.
So we talked about Ronin being like a really story team.
They're a very story team.
They went very far last year. They're historically always going far. They actually have they won the Tribal Tempest or something. I think that's the Alliance Tournament 4 prize they got. They got second place or something. Yeah. But TNT sort of kind of bumbled their way into the winner's bracket, but they're winning. Like, you can't really say, oh, they just got lucky 3 times in a row. Like,
do you remember specifics from their last matches? Because I don't.
They had like these weird undermanned teams, and it seems like they're about to lose, but then they kind of, the other team doesn't quite shoot themselves in the foot, but they kind of do. But TNT hold on and make good decisions throughout. Like, that's the thing that I was really surprised by this TNT team, because they're not generally a team that you see in the tournament going very far. But no, this year they're doing pretty good. Yeah. Like I think Ronin should be on upset alert here. I mean, you look at it, say, oh, TNT, they've never done anything good. Ronin will just coast in here. But I think I would be kind of afraid if I was the Ronin right now. TNT would make me take probably a better team than I would normally field in this position.
I think anyone in the winners bracket this far, really, you have to, pay attention to, because they've already won 2 matches, right?
Yeah.
So they have already put on 2 solid performances, or at least one if they got lucky setup-wise.
So to stop the amount of words that are not PG-13 stream capable, I will stop you right there, and we have the matches ready. Before I start filtering out, so acting as the voice is messing with my head. We're going to the commentator booth.
That last malediction is at about half armor, and this match will be over before too long. Looks like he's got a raptor right on his tail.
Right, the malediction dying. Looks like. I just grabbed 250 million.
Sorry, I think I go full.
Okay, yeah, him.
Roger.
We've got him.
I'm gonna go off.
Gonna disengage as well.
Pointed.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to this next match in AT12. This is the Ronin versus TNT, and I'm CCB Fozzie, joined by Bacchanalian. We have 2 of these kind of core archetypes we've seen repeated a couple of times coming up against each other. The Ronin bringing Gilas, or Lorenzos, with Sleipnirs and Scimitar and Damp support, while TNT is bringing double Armageddon, double Eos, Aneros, and then all the Frigg killers you could ever hope for, with Heretics, Talwars, and Kestrels. So they obviously want to make sure Friggs die.
Yeah, lucky for them, there are frigates to kill. We have a Harpy, 2 Mollusk, Crow, and 2 Merlins on the Ronin side that I have a feeling will not last very long in this match. They are really not threatened. They got rid of that Cerberus and Orthrus that scared them. I guess we looked up some of the previous matches, and the Tactical Narcotics team had used an Orthrus setup. Is that right?
The Ronin had. The Ronin's last setup was Orthrus's and Cerberus.
Got
so
it. So
that kind of makes sense with the bands then if they're trying to block out that particular setup. The teams did come in at quite a bit of range from each other. Ronin at max range, and then TNT bringing their Armageddons and Eoses in close and everything else further back. And there's bouncers and infiltrators and geckos dropped from the drone ships.
We haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of sentry drones, so this is interesting. But I mean, at that range, wow, there goes Mollusk. Look at that. It is low structure and just one go. I mean, just everything vaporized off of that.
There's a lot of light missiles heading towards him.
Interestingly, it didn't even have the target painter on it. Target painter went on something else, and there comes shields. The Scimitar finally got a rep on it. I guess that is the drawback of target painting, is the Scimitar gets to lock faster too. Yep. Heretic and Talwar both losing shields there on the other side, but they are armor tank with an Oneros on the field, and the Talwar and Heretic both receiving remote reps. So really, right now, a bit of a stalemate. Nothing definitive happening on either side. There is the control bar for Tactical Narcotics team is huge, but they're not applying it.
Yeah, I think it's because the Molluses for the Ronin were able to apply the damps early on. So not only did they save themselves, as I say that as one of them dies, they delayed their death by preventing some of the Heretics and Towers and Kestrels from locking, but they also prevented some of the counter damping. That being said, now with one of them off the field, that's going to make it a lot easier for TNT to lock.
Well, I think a lot of that's probably going to be from the Armageddon's newts as well, but and they're just not in range.
Yep.
I mean, a smart team's going to avoid those newts. You do not want anything to do with those Armageddon newts, unless you're a bunch of frigates on the team we saw earlier who decided to just motor in and die. Scimitar just lost its shields from the Ronin side, though, and that's serious trouble. He just got hit pretty hard. The Oneros on TNT is starting to rep, and here we go. The control bar for Tactical Narcotics team just jumped.
Because that's the newts on a Sleipnir. The Geddons got on top of one of the Sleipnirs, or within range at least, and applied all of their newts to him. And that means he's going to be out of cap fast, and without hardeners, he could drop very quickly.
And he's really not moving anywhere. Shut off that MWD of his. Scimitar into armor, that's a problem for him. The Oneros, meanwhile, holding on with, I guess he's an ASB Oneros, because he's pulling back quite a bit of shields. Scimitar for Ronin now into very low armor. This is still
now tackled,
quite a match. this is going to be really close. I think the Scimitar and Oneros are going to go down really, really close to one another. As Slipner's starting to take damage of Garga's V for the Ronin, the team there. Both logistics in structure.
Yep,
there goes the Oneros first.
And the Scimitar, I'm sure, is going to fall. He's still painted. He's still taking damage from these sentries and these light missiles, and it's just going to be a matter of time for him. But meanwhile, a bunch of damage is applied to the Sleipnir.
That Sleipnir just erased. I mean, his shields are gone. His ASP's pulsing, but the DPS is just way too much. He's lost his hardeners here, so he's boosting unhardened shields. He's in armor, gets another boost off. EOS, meanwhile, in armor, Hakawao.
That EOS is dropping pretty quickly, though. I mean, every boost that Gargaris gets is another boost that he stays alive and keeps applying damage to the EOS.
But I think, here he goes. He is off the field. That is a fair bit of DPS gone from the Ronin team, and the Ronin team look like they're a little bit in trouble now. The second Sleipnir is also webbed down, which is not where Sleipnir wants to be.
No, not at all. He's not
damage.
being neuted yet, though. Although he's within range to be neuted, so I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they get the newts applied to him. He's already taken a ton of damage. That EOS is holding on pretty well now. Yeah, with these Sleipnirs down, that's going to leave the 3 Lorenzos almost by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, really, the Heretics are going to still do a fair bit of damage, even if they're not attacking, you know, something small. But it could just be that they're picking off drones. I haven't looked to see that.
The Harpy dropping there, that's another one of those targets. It's a great target for those light missiles.
And the Maulus is in pretty low armor as well. Sleipnir's still pulling back ASB boosts, but it's like a little less every time. That EOS now, Hakawao, is starting to drop. He's low armor, and pulling back Talwar for Nil Desperandum is very low. Here he goes. He was a sliver structure off the field. So this is a bit of a match back and forth. A lot of stuff exploding. TNT definitely have an advantage now, especially with that Sleipnir down.
TNT have a huge advantage, I think.
Yeah.
The EOS is just holding on so well, and now that there's one less, Sleipnir was on top of him and applying most of the damage to him, and now that one's off the field, he actually, he's got a swarm of Valkyries from the Helas around him too, but these Helas are probably going to drop once they get tackled too.
Can you see what those Heretics and Talwars are shooting? What are they focused on right now? Because I want to see if maybe they're trying to pick off drones, or are they working on this Mollusk Crow on the Merlin?
Right now they're on they're on a Merlin.
Yep.
Okay. So they're working on the Frigs. They're trying to clear those off the field, and once they get into that position, there's nothing to stop them from taking out these Helas or from taking out the drones. I mean, there's a lot of things that these utility ships can do with the light missiles as the fight goes further on.
But just another Talwar lost there, so we have 2 Heretics in armor for Technical Narcotics.
EOS is still holding on.
That's really incredible.
EOS is surviving for an incredibly long time. He still has drones on him, but not a lot at this point. There's, I think, looks like, 2.5 Helas worth of drones on him, and another drone coming soon. He's going to go down, but him surviving that long has meant that he's traded for a Sleipnir, a bunch of frigates, and like a third of a Hela.
Yeah, there was a point where at which he looked like he was going to go down before even that first Sleipnir, and he just damage stopped on him. Heretic for Technical Narcotics team is going to go down. I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot. We have a Lorenzo for a name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, about to go into armor. Really, at this point, I think TNT just have to execute and clean up. That their EOS just got stripped of its shields, so we can see what the next primary is going to be. But, I mean, I guess if somehow Ronin clear that EOS off the field, they have a shot to get back in this, but it's a long shot.
It is a very long shot. The Armageddons still do a lot of damage. They have the ability to project range with sentries. The Heretics and Talwars and Kestrel can project range very well as well.